again, and welcome to another edition of Nick's Impromptu Reviews. And today, it is with great pleasure for me to review Dominion by Rio Grande Games. Now, Dominion, it's a deck building game created by Donald X. Vaccarino, and this pretty much started the genre of deck building games. Now, deck building games, unlike other card games like or collectible card games like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, in deck building games you all start with the same pool of cards, and during gameplay you create your deck. Okay, unlike Magic the Gathering, where before the game or outside the game you stay at home hours in a basement trying to build the best deck. Here you build the deck as you're playing, and that's part of the mechanic, and that's the part of the innovation of the deck building genre. And Dominion started the deck building genre. It's very popular. It won the Spiel des Jahres award in 2009, and the Spiel des Jahres is, as you know, is kind of like the Academy Awards of board games. And it made a big splash, very popular in a lot of top 10 lists, and a widely purchased, I believe, because you can buy this at Walmart and Target. I heard this is being sold at Toys R Us even. So anyways, enough of the talk. Before I start gushing all over this game, let's take a look at the gameplay, shall we? Okay, so here's the basic setup for the base game. Now, just note that the game can vary, the setup can vary depending on what cards you want to play, and even the base game has more cards than you really need to play a different set of cards. But right now, this is what is called the recommended first game. Okay, well, anyways, let me show you the thing that's common for all games. Okay, first you have your treasure right on this side. Okay, these are the treasure cards. This is the currency that you'll be gaining. You have copper, which is worth 1, silver, gold. Okay, and then next you're gonna have the victory cards. You're gonna have the estates, which are worth 1 victory point, duchies, which are worth 3 victory points, and the provinces, which are worth 6 victory points. Now, those green cards are ultimately what you want when you play the game, because the person who has the most victory points in their deck wins the game. Alright? And then, in the middle, you're gonna have these kingdom cards. And this part is going to vary depending on which cards you play. And most of them are action cards. Now, there are some that are that can also be victory cards, but usually they have a special power to them. They're not as basic as the victory cards. Okay, and like I said, depending on what types of card you play, that's the kingdoms are going to differ. Okay, so to start the game, each player, and the game supports 2 to 4 players, and if you own 2 base games like the base game and Intrigue, you can have up to 6, or if you get an expansion plus the base cards, you can have up to 6 players. But yeah, the game plays from 2 to 4 players. Well, anyway, each player, they start off with a deck of 10 cards, and what they're going to have 3 estates, which are worth 1 victory point, and 7 copper. Okay, now, so right off the bat, you have 3 victory points. Okay, and your goal is to get as many of these in your deck by the end of the game. Okay, so you start out with 7 copper, 3 estates. You take your deck and you shuffle it. Okay, now it doesn't seem much at first. Well, that's how you start. You start off with really nothing, but the idea is to build your deck. Okay, so you shuffle your deck. You go ahead and you draw 5 cards. Okay, now in order to, the best way to understand how a turn goes, or how to play the game, just remember A, B, C. A is you play an action, which are generally these kingdom cards that you will acquire later. B, you get to buy 1 item with any money in your hand. And C, which is cleanup. You take all the cards that you use and did not use, and you put them in your discard pile. Okay? Actually, I should say A, B, C, and D. D, which means draw a new set of 5 cards. Okay? So let's see how. Okay, let's say this is the start of the game. I shuffled my 10 cards, and I drew these 5. And as you can see, I have 3 copper and 2 estates. Now, even though, just keep in mind, even though the green cards are what you ultimately want to get, they do nothing in your hand. Okay, so right now these estates really don't do anything. However, I do have 3 copper. So let's go with the ABCs again. A, play an action. Obviously, I have no action. In fact, nobody has any actions. Okay. B, buy. You get to buy 1 item. Okay, so how much money do I have? I have 3 copper. So I can buy 1 card up to 3. Okay, so let's look at some of the cards here. Alright, let me zoom in. Alright, and you can see there's like the smithy, which is worth, if you look in the lower left hand corner, that is the price of the card. So let me grab the smithy for a second. Okay, the smithy, yeah, it costs 4, but when you play it, it gives you 3 cards. Okay, but it costs 4, so I can't buy it. However, the village here, alright, it's an action card, and it gives me 1 card and 2 actions, and it costs 3. So you know what? Let's go ahead and buy 3. Now, when you buy something, what happens is that it goes right into your discard pile. Okay? So when you buy something, it goes. Let's put my discard pile right here. Let me back the camera up a bit. Okay, this will be my discard pile. Put my discard pile right here, and then since that's the end of my turn, C, cleanup phase. All your cards that you played, all the cards that you have in your hand, they all go to your discard pile. Okay, now that seems kind of weird, but let me show you something, okay? And now D, you draw a new set of cards, and that's the end of your turn. Okay, so I'll draw my next 5 cards, and you can see I have 4 copper and 1 estate. Okay? Alright, so now this is my second turn. Alright, A, I still have no actions. B, I can still buy something. I have 4 copper, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and buy that smithy now. Okay? The smithy, and it gives me 3 cards when I play the action. And whenever you buy something, it goes to your discard pile. Okay? C, cleanup. Everything in your hand and any cards that you played, it goes to your discard pile. Okay, now that seems kind of like bland, but here is the ingenious mechanic about this game. Alright, now, draw phase, I have to draw 5 cards. However, I have no more cards, alright? They're all in my discard pile, so what you do, you take your discard pile, and from this, as you can tell, there's going to be a lot of shuffling in this game, especially from the beginning. Okay, so you go ahead, you shuffle your cards, and you draw 5 new ones. Now you only draw the amount that you required, okay? So if I drew 3, I ran out of cards, then I shuffle my discard and I draw 2 more to have 5. Okay, so let's see, hopefully I got an, perfect. Okay, so now this is my third turn. Alright, now let's go with ABC again. Action. Guess what? I finally have an action card. Now, this action, so I'm going to play this card, and this action, it gives me 1 card, so I draw 1 card, and 2 actions, okay? So let's play that, alright? So it said I get 1 card, so I draw 1 card from my deck, and I get 2 actions, okay? Alright, and that'll probably be the end of my turn, but now I get to buy things, and I have 3, and let's say I want to buy silver. Okay, now silver, it's worth 2 when you play it, but when you initially buy it, it costs 3. So you know what, that would be a good idea, so it'll increase my deck, and then maybe I can buy some better stuff, okay? And C and D, discard, draw again, and this keeps going until the game ends. And let's see, my next hand, okay, I draw 3 cards, and again, I have only 1 card left. I shuffle this, and I draw 2 more. Blah blah blah, let's see, and so now I have this, and look at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, actually I want 8, but 7, I can buy almost everything here. Well anyways, that's pretty much it. Now it seems boring, but here's the thing. Okay, eventually you're going to be getting these cards that help you, alright, and they'll help you acquire some of these victory cards, which you really need. Now, the thing is, you're probably thinking, well, why don't I just get a bunch of these cheap ones that only cost 2, that are worth 1 victory point? Okay, well, that's all good and well, but listen, if you get these too soon, right, and your deck is not that big, and you end up like drawing 5 estates at the same time, you can't do anything. Okay, so getting victory points early may not be a good tactic because you're going to clog your deck. But if you get these cards, for instance, like this one, it gives you 1 card, 1 action, 1 buy, and it gives you +1 money for that turn. I mean, these cards can help you, and eventually you're going to develop a nice little deck that'll make it efficient. Now, the key thing is, and this is the major thing of the game, you got to balance it. You got to balance to know when to build your deck and when to go after those victory points. So essentially, you want to be efficient and you want to be quick, because the game ends when any 3 of these piles are gone, or this province pile, which is the highest victory points, when this 1 pile is gone. And from my experience, I say about 75% of the time, the game ends when these are all gone. Okay? And what you do once the game ends, you count the number of victory points you have in your deck, and whoever has the most wins. And believe it or not, that's the entire game. A, B, C, D, play an action, buy a card, clean up, draw 5 more cards. And now the rules are just simple, but like I said, the cards are what makes the game. And what you'll find out is that you'll have these interesting combos. Like some cards give you more actions, and some cards give you more buys, and some cards give you a lot of money. So you can play a card to get another action, you play another action to do something else, and you can come up with some interesting combos. And like I said, the variety is incredible in this game, especially with all the expansions that they have. And that is the real beauty of this game, the creativity. And the thing is, you can make the game as interactive or non-interactive as possible. Now, generally, you pretty much build your own thing, and you're just competing to who gets the most provinces. But there are cards where you can really mess with someone else. And so, like, for instance, there are cards that if you play it, like the militia, if you play it, everyone discards down to 3 cards, and that can really sort of annoy people. And there are even some that give you a curse, which is a negative victory point card. So you can make it as interactive or non-interactive as possible. Lots of variety, lots of fun, so simple, a lot of depth, and just like Magic Gathering, promotes creativity.
All right, I'm going to say it straight out. This is my favorite game. Not one of my favorite games. This is my favorite game of all time. Dominion, it took the good parts of Magic, which is drafting. It removed some of the bad parts of it, like the card collecting, and Donald X. Vaccarino created a nice, elegant game. And another thing, it's incredibly easy. And the 2 things that really make a good game, in my opinion, 2 key things are ease of play and depth. Okay, so now you probably think I favor like these gateway games, and I probably tend to favor ease of play a lot, but there's a reason to it. I want to introduce new players to the game board or the board game hobby, and I do like some real elaborate, complex games, but I prefer to play simple games with a lot of depth, because I want to introduce it to other people. I have a lot of friends who are not gamers, believe it or not. Okay, in fact, most of my friends are not gamers, and I could break out like one gateway. These gateway games. One gateway game was Ticket to Ride. That's still probably be my #1 gateway game, meaning that if I had a group of non-gamers, I'd introduce Ticket to Ride to them. This is probably a close second. But what makes me like this more is that I can play this forever. Okay. It's a great game. I consider myself an experienced Dominion player, but if I can teach a person in 5 to 10 minutes, and they can be very competitive. Okay, this game is elegantly designed, and the one thing that I like about this is that with these deck building games, you all start with the same pool. Okay, like Magic the Gathering, you had to buy these expensive cards, and then you'll have these guys that just have no life, and they make these killer decks. Okay, and they just crush you, and you know that's too hardcore for me. This one, you start in the same pool, you look at the cards, and believe me, there's a lot of variety. And like I said, this is just the base game, and you look at the cards, and you build your deck as the gameplay goes. And I think that is such a genius game mechanic, building the deck as you play. And it's hard to describe, so that's why I showed you the gameplay. But it works real well, and it flows real well. And there's a lot of variety in this game. This is just the base game, and it has about, I don't know, let me see, 500 cards, about 50 different cards. Well, that's just one box. Check this out. I can get it all here. These are the expansions I have. Okay? I have Hinterlands, Prosperity, Intrigue, Seaside, Cornucopia, even Alchemy. And I don't even have the latest two, which is Guilds and Dark Ages. I don't even have those yet, but I plan on getting those. And so this even adds more variety to the game. And so there's so many different cards to choose from, so many different mixes to choose from. The possibilities are endless, and each game is totally different. Each game feels different depending on the card mix, and it just plays real well. And who cannot understand this game? If you know how to count, you know how to read, you can play this game. ABC, action, buy, clean up. That's it. That's all you have to do. Draw, and D, draw 5 new cards. A, B, C, D, draw 5 new cards. And that's all you have to do. But it's the cards that make the game complex and fun. Yes, I just love this game. It just flows real well. Now, I know there are a lot of other deck building games out there like Puzzle Strike, and I like them. Puzzle Strike, Ascension, Thunderstone. I haven't played Thunderstone much. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Nightfall, that vampire one. There's a whole bunch of deck building games out there, and they're pretty good. But in my opinion, nothing beats the original. This just flows better. And a lot of people say the theme is lacking. I see the theme. I mean, you're young kings or queens, and you're trying to, expand your kingdom by buying estates, provinces, colonies, and you do that by, hiring people or buying buildings and to generate more money. So the theme is there. I'm okay with it. But really, it's all about the gameplay. It's all about the ease of play, and it's all about introducing it to new players. You can introduce this to new players. I mean, this is a very good family game. It just hits all the right spots for me. And if there's one game, one go-to game, Dominion is it. Okay? And with that, I'm going to give Dominion a perfect 10 out of 10. Yeah, very easy, very deep, lots of variety. It's a can't-miss game. I really see no flaws in it. Other than there's a lot of boxes, if you can somehow condense it to something, but geez, look at all this. I mean, trying to transport all these, yeah, I need a whole suitcase for myself. But other than that, it's a perfect game. All right, so that is it. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye-bye.